divided by, and cent means 100. So a percent is a special form of decimals and a more special form of fractions, as they say. 50% is 0.5. And all operations rules of decimals and fractions apply to percent. Percent of change. When a number is changed from the value of A to value of B, if B is greater than A, then the percentage of increase is B minus A divided by A times 100%. If B is less than A, is A minus B divided by A times 100%. Well, okay, so X divided by B equals C over 100 gives you this. A divided by B equals X over 100 equals this. That is equal to that. And we see what is number C% of B. We can just use this to set up the equation. Same as this is what percent of B is X over 100 times B. And C is C% of one number. C 100 over X is equal. C over 100 times X is equal to A. Right. Translation of word to math symbol. What number is X, a known symbol? Yes is equal to, and off is times or multiplication. Alright, let's move on to example 1. Of the 24 members in the class, 25% are seniors. How many members are not seniors? So 1/4 is equal to 25%. Let's write that down. 25% is equal to 0.25 equal to 1/4. Now, we can see 1/4 times 25 is, or 5% is 1/4. 1/4 of 25 is equal to 6. Now, then 25 minus 6 is equal to 18 because we want to find out how many are not seniors. So the answer is 18. Another way you can do it is subtract this from 1. It gives out the remaining population of 3/4 times 24 or 18 as our answer. It gives us the same. Let's move on to example 2. I'll let you guys have a try on this question and tell me your answers to the chat. Let's get started with this question. What number is 25% of 3,500? Well, we just want 1/4 of 300. We want 1/4 of 3,500. 1/4 of 3,500 because we know 25% is 1/4. Now, 1/4 of 3,500 is 3,500 divided by 4. Now, 3,500 divided by 4 is equal to 875 if you do the math, actually. And this means the answer to this question is 875. It's just pure calculation. Let's do example 3. Erica has saved $63 toward a purchase of $300. Cameron, what percent of the total price has she saved? I'll let you guys have a try on this question and tell me your answers to chat. Let's get started with this question. So basically, how am I supposed to approach this question? This question might be kind of approachable. We can start by Erica giving $63 for 300. What do we do from there? Because we want the percent, and the percent is, say we have $8 and we use B dollars, then A divided by B is equal to X percent. Now that is the percent of the total price we saved. Alright? And this is an AMC8 class. C3 divided by 300 is equal to 7. Oops, no, 21 divided by 100. Because then if you divide by 3 again, 100 doesn't divide 3 or 7. Because it has, this right over here has 3 or 7 as factors. So the answer is just 21 divided by 100. Since we want percent, we change that to a percent, which gives you 21%. Let's move on to example 4. 25% on what number is 30? I'll let you guys have a try on this question and tell me your answers through chat. Okay, let's get started with discussion. The answer is 120. Why? Someone said 7.5. Did you read the question? What was the question asking? 25%, 30 of what number, say it's X, is 30. So we want 25% of X is equal to 30. Now, this does not mean 25% of 30 is equal to X. It says 25% of that number or a quarter of this number is equal to 30. So this means that X is equal to 120. Alright? So make sure you read the question and understand it before you just dive into the solution. Okay, let's get started with this question. 3 is 0.4% of what number? I'll let you guys try this question and tell me your answers to chat. So let's get started with this question. Okay, so the answer is 750. 3 is 0.4% of what number? Now, this is just four thousands times x. Let's say that number is x. Is equal to 3. Now we multiply both sides by 100,000 divided by 4. This gives you 300,000 is 3,000 divided by 4 is 750. Or is equal to x equals 750. And that's your answer. Alright? Let's move on to example 6. What's your question?
For question example number 5, I kind of had a typo. My bad. It's supposed to be an extra 0.
Oh, okay. Let's move on to example 6. I'll let you guys have a try in this question. And tell me your answers to chat. Okay, let's get started with this question. The answer is indeed 60%. It is indeed 60%. Obviously, it's just 12 divided by 20, which is equal to 6 divided by 10, or 60%. Oops. So the answer is 60%. Let's move on to example 7. This is probably one of the last simple problems we have. Okay, so would anybody want to explain how they got the problem or the answer, right? Anyone? Uh, okay, so basically this is just, yeah, so basically just divide by 4. Since it's, divide by 4 is equal to 20, this is 25%. We have to divide by 4 or get us 424. Sorry. 96 divided by 4, make sure you get it right, and it just gives you 24. Alright, example 8. A student has an average of 85% on the 1 hour exam. Each counts the same as final counts as twice as 1 hour exam. One hour exam. What percent must the student make on the final to have an overall average of 90% for the entire course? I'll let you guys have a try on this question and tell me answers to the chat. Alright, so Eric got it right. So let's get started. So how are we supposed to do this? We want 90% for 4. Think about it as 90% is just 90. So 90 times 4 is equal to 360. 85% or 85 times 3 is equal to 255. And subtract. It gives you one uh yeah, it's right. So it should give you 5 let me think how to oh wait, shoot. It's twice as much. So we should multiply by 5 actually. And this it gives you 450. 450 minus 255 gives you 195. 195 divided by 2 equals 97.5, and our answer is 97.5 because it counts it twice as much. So it gives us 195 divided by 2 is going to be 97.5 divided 97.5. So the answer to this question is 97.5% is the minimum. Let's move on to example 9. I'll ask you guys over time this question and tell me answers to chat. Okay, let's get started with the question. A softball won 7 of its first 12 games, so 7 out of 12. How many of the remaining 20 games to win have a season record of winning 75% of the games? So if we add 20, this gives you 32. Now, what doing 1 out of 32 is you do 75%. That's basically the question. So if we add, because there's 20 remaining games and we've already done 12, 12 plus 20 is 32, and x out of 32 is equal to 75%. This will give you 24 is equal to x, because 24 divided by 32 is 75%. And then 24 minus 7 is 17. So the answer is 17. Alright, let's move on to example 10. A worker was taken off the job for the first 40 working days of the year without any pay. If the worker's pay for 200 working days is down to 22,000, what percent raise must the worker get to receive 22,000 over the next 160 days? So you guys ever tried this question? And try to answer to chat. I'll wait 5 more minutes to let everybody get the answer. Okay, let's get started with this question. So how are you supposed to doing it? Now let's basically 240 working days of no pay, and his pay is 222,000. The original price was 1,100. If you count 110 per day, divide and give you 0, 0, 0, 0, 11, 1. Here's just 1, and this is 110. Now we want 22,000 divided by 160. Now what's 22,000 divided by 160? Well, you put it on a calculator, but let's calculate it. Is you do 2,200 divided by 16, or you can do 1,100 divided by 8, or 11 times 25 divided by 2. Now, we want to find the ratio between that and 110, so we might as well just do this. It gives you, this is 137.5 divided by 110. This gives you 25. Is equal to 1.25. And there you go. Or you can just did the 22,000 divided by 160 and divide that by 22,000 divided by 200 already, and this gives you 200 divided by 160, which is just 1.25. And we take out this because it's just 100%. Give us the 25% of increase. All right, let's move on to example 11. I'll let you guys have a try on this question and tell me answers to chat. Let's get started. People like nobody got it right this time. After a recent the dieter weighed 135 pounds. This is equal to 0.9 because it's the weight loss of 10% off X or the pre-diet weight. And this gives you, now we just want to find the weight prior before the diet, which is divided by 0.9. 135 divided by 9. If you guys do it, you get 15. But since it's a 0.9, we moved it by one decimal place to the left on the 9. So from 9, we move to a 0.9. It gives us multiplied by 10. 10 more. 10 times more. So if it's 15, it gives you 150. So x is equal to 150. So the original weight is 150. Now you can test it out. 10%. That's equal to 15. 10%. Sorry, you guys can't read the writing. And 150 minus 15 is indeed 135. That's a 10% loss. So that's right. Let's do example 12 now. I'll let you guys have a try on this question and tell me answers to chat. Alright, let's get started with this question. If 1% of 1% of a number is 5, or 1 out of 100 times 1 out of 100 is equal to 5 times, oh yeah, we have to add an x because we want to find that number. And then let that number be x. We multiply by 100 times 100, or 10,000 to both sides, we get 50,000. This all cancels out, gives us equal to x. So the answer is 50,000. Not bad. Let's do example 13. In a certain school of 37.5% of students were on the honor roll. Of the students on the honor roll, 8.13% had a straight A average. If 58 students had a straight A average, how many students were enrolled in the school? I'll let you guys have a try this question and tell me your answer to chat. Let's get started with this question now. So we get started. So it's 37.5%. This sounds like 37.5% to me. Now what's 37.5%? That's 0.375. Now that's equal to 3/8. I love fractions much better than percentages. They're like kind of messy to deal with. Of the students that are taking honor roll, 8 and 1/3% had a straight A average. This is just 8 and 1/3 out of 100, or it's just 25 divided by 300, or 1 in 12. 1/12. Multiply these fractions together, we can get how many had a straight A average and had honor roll. 3/8 times 1/12 is equal to 132. 1/32. This gives you 4. This gives you 1. And this is equal to 58. And this is x because we don't know what x is. Because x is the total number of students. Now multiply 32 to both sides. Get 32 times 58. What is that? That is equal to 58 times 2. 116. 58 times 3. 174. 174 or 116. This gives you answer of 1856. And that's our answer. And we've answered the question. So not 856. Let's do example 14. On Monday, Orlo's Bakery discounted the price of pies to 20%. By 20%. On Tuesday, it discounted the price an additional 70%. What is the combined percent discount? I'll let you guys have a try on this question and tell me answers to chat. Okay, let's get started with this question. How should we do this? Well, we start with 0.8 because it's 20% discount. This is 20% discount. We know this is going to be 80% off the original price since we're discounting 20%. Similarly, for 70%, we discount it by 70%. This is equal to 30% of the original. OG, let's put OG as original. Now, as 80% as original, we just multiply these prices up. So 0.8 is equal to 80%. And we multiply by 0.3 for 30%. This gives you 0.24. Now, they don't want to find the resulting percent from that, the percent of the original price it is. This is just 24%. But we want the discount. So the discount is 100 or 1.00 minus 0.24. This gives you 0.76. So the answer is 76%. Oops. Some of you sometimes might confuse this to just do 20% times 70%. This will give you 14%, and this gives you 86%. Nope, that's not how you do it. You're supposed to first, you're going to have to do 70%, take 1 minus that, or 100% minus that, and then 100% minus 20% also. If we want to find the percent of what the original price. Because the discounts don't add, like, multiply together. It don't add up. Okay? So it's time. Have a good night, and I'll see you in the next session. Bye.